Since becoming familiar and using the Veinlite in our practice, it's made my job a lot easier. I don't have to sweat when certain people come in and need to have their blood drawn when I know they're a tough draw. They don't sweat, I don't sweat. We can get it done a lot easier. They can tell their friends and relatives. Nobody worries when they have to come to our office anymore to have their blood drawn. The Veinlite LED is the top-of-the-line model which we have in our office. It is a two-light system, the orange and the red light, which penetrate the skin between 3 and 6 millimeters, which show the vein system under the skin and only the veins by the deoxygenated blood. The Veinlite EMS is the newer model, totally portable, only 2 AA batteries, preferred by many ambulance personnel to put in their pack. One button, both the orange and the red lights are illuminated, easy to start, your IV's in the ambulance, you're ready to go. Where fluorescent lighting is in use, you will want to take advantage of the optional attachments. The light shield, which fits on easily, just snaps right on over the top. The lights turn on and blocks the fluorescent lighting and still illuminates the veins quite easily. For infants to pediatric patients, you can narrow the light field and opening by snapping on this adapter. Get the same illumination, but with a narrower opening. The light shield also works with the pediatric adapter, fitting right over the top, so you have the advantage of both pieces of equipment.
Now, many years ago, we didn't have anything to help show us where veins were. And so when you get in these chubby little, newborns, these chubby little kiddos, you would just kind of go on where you knew anatomically from school and that where the veins should be. And so it would be nothing to poke these children 4 or 5 times and just hope that the vein was going to be there somewhere and you would hit it. And so it was very painful for the child, it was very painful for the parents, and it was hard on the staff too, to be hurting, these kiddos. But now they've come out with this nifty little, Veinlite. And if you're having a look in the arms and a cubital, we do a lot of starting IVs in the scalp, we start IVs in the feet, then it's really helpful for them too, because in the pediatric population, the feet are very chubby and the veins in those areas can be very small. So it really has made a huge difference in that population with this Veinlite. Recently, we just had a child who was extremely dehydrated. He was in hospice, and we needed to start an IV so that we could give him his pain medication instead of sticking him every, like 20 minutes, every half an hour. And we thought there would be no way because he was so severely dehydrated. And so we went in with a tourniquet and we could see these veins. They would pop up beautifully. And we thought, okay, this is going to be a piece of cake. But the veins were so fragile from being dehydrated, and they would just, they would roll and they would just kind of like, curl up on you, and we just couldn't get them. So we thought, well, let's try the Veinlite, even though it's supposed to be for, trying to find veins that you can't see, that are kind of deeper. We got out our Veinlite, and we then could watch the vein and kind of see how it was curling, how it was rolling on us, and then we were able to get that IV in one stick. And the mother, who had left the building earlier in tears because we were poking and we were digging, she thanked us 100 times for having this Veinlite and being able then to poke him just one time and put the IV right in. We want to make sure that we put our cover on and make sure that the cover is intact so we don't have to worry about any type of cross-contamination from patient to patient. Here we have kind of 2 populations at the same time. We have someone who's younger, and we also have someone that has darker skin. And so the Veinlite is great then because their skin has more elasticity in it, and so sometimes then it's a little harder to hit those veins. And also the darker skin because we have the 2 powers of light. So first we would turn on the red light which will get us a little deeper, and hopefully then we'll be able to see her veins better. But if we have some problems, the veins are a little deeper, they're a little smaller because she's also in the pediatric population, then we can also turn on the orange light, and then that will help us see those deeper veins and maybe even smaller veins. So we would start down low, we would start with her hand and work our way up the arm. So we would come across sideways, across her hand, and see if we see anything. Now when I do find something, then I turn the vein light around so I can watch how that vein travels up her arm, so that I can see if the vein is straight, I can see how deep the vein is, I can see if there's any Ys, any bifurcations, and make sure that the vein that I'm actually going to be trying to start this IV on is the best vein. Jill is our young adults, and Jill also is our population that's a little overweight. And so lots of times in those veins are much deeper, and so they're very hard to find. So the vein light is great. And again, now because this is a light-skinned person, I would start out with the orange light. Now the red light is more for dark-skinned individuals, but there's no harm in going ahead and using that on our obese patients that will also then go deeper and help us find those veins that are deeper in that population. So we do the same thing, and we come across our hand, and if we see something, we might turn then the vein light around and kind of travel, then watch that vein go up the arm, make sure that it's nice and straight, make sure that there are no Ys, there's no bifurcations, that the vein looks really good, because we only want to stick one time. And if we don't see anything there that we like, then we would do the exact same thing, and we'd start coming up our arm, and we'd be looking for a nice vein that then we can turn the light around and kind of map it up their arm. And so then we would just find our vein and we'd be ready to go. This is probably one of our most difficult population, is the older population. Their skin is very, very fragile, and it tears so easily. So with this population, we definitely do not want to use a tourniquet. So that's what's great about the vein light. We don't have to put that tourniquet on, because with the vein light, you don't need a tourniquet. You use the vein light as your tourniquet. So as you travel up the hand and you're looking for a nice vein, you want to find one the straightest you can. And also, the elderly population, they do have a lot of bifurcations. They have a lot of what we call knotty areas. And so we want to avoid all of those if we can. So then when I find the vein that I like, then I'm going to get out my alcohol, and I'm going to alcohol the spot, and then I'm also going to alcohol the vein light cover. And just in case I have, some germs, because there's a lot of germs on the skin, I'm going to clean those off. So I will wipe off both of those. So when I've got that spot now and I've got it all cleaned off, I will turn that vein light around, and I will just kind of push gently down and then up, and that will anchor the vein for me, and it will act as its own tourniquet. So then I will go ahead and I will take the catheter and I will watch through the vein light, so I can watch that vein, because there are people that have rolling veins, and I can watch if that vein rolls, then I can go ahead and see which direction it's rolling, and I can go ahead then and put the catheter, thread the catheter right through the vein. We're going to talk about Amy being a population as a person who comes in, sits down, and the first thing they say to you is, I don't have any veins, and I'm giving you one try, and that's it, so you better get it. So that's why the vein light is great. We've got that one chance, and we want to get it on that one try. And so we're going to search until we are absolutely sure that we have a nice, straight, big, vein with no bifurcations, no Ys, so that we can get that on our first try, since it's going to be our only try. So we're going to do the same thing. Even though Amy says she's only got one upper arm, I'm still going to look in the back of her hand, because lots of times these veins are deeper and they don't come up when they go in for regular blood draws. And so she might not know that she has these veins in the back of her hand. So I'm going to do just like I do with everyone else, and I'm going to come right across her hand, and I'm going to look for veins. If I see a vein, I think maybe, then I'll turn the vein light around and see if I can follow that vein up her arm, make sure that it doesn't get smaller as I go. Maybe it'll even get bigger as I go, and then I know I've got the right one. I'm going to make sure that there's no bifurcations, there's no Ys, and I'm going to keep traveling up her arm until I find the exact vein that I think I'm going to be able to get on this one try. And when I find that vein with a Veinlite, because I will find it with a Veinlite, then that's where I'm going to put in my IV.
With all electrical equipment, there are precautions, and this is no exception. Do not look directly into these lights. Do not shine them in anyone's eyes. Do not immerse it in any liquid. Do not autoclave this instrument. Always use the protective sleeves. Use good medical precautions when using this instrument. Always use gloves and OSHA approved techniques when starting IVs or drawing blood. You've heard about the Veinlite from the professionals and from the patients. You want to be a part of this. It makes it easier on both sides of the fence. Everyone's happier. Takes less time, less effort. It saves in saving time and saving effort, it saves money. Everyone's happier, makes for a happier patient, makes for a happier employee, makes for a happier environment all the way around. I think you want to be a part of this cutting edge technology for a lot of reasons, and mostly for the comfort of yourselves and for your patients. Be a part of the Veinlite technology and order today. Thank you.